Hello and welcome to today's practice. Today's practice will be a nice restorative yoga practice. So some time and space for some deep, nourishing rest with a focus on releasing, nourishing and healing through the eye band and the jaw and the throat band. So these are horizontal bands of fascia, the deep connective tissue in the body, which are also emotional warehouses of the body. So this means these are areas where energy, stress, trauma can be held and stored in these spaces. So these are only three of the spaces in the body that can hold onto this energy. And if we don't release it, let it go, it can become stagnant in the body and be held there until we do actually release it. So just allow yourself permission to rest and surrender into this practice. So there is nothing specific that you need to do or action within this practice to allow the softening and surrender through these bands of fascia. The body has this beautiful innate wisdom to heal and release through its own mechanisms. And that is promoted or allowed when we enter deep rest and we switch from sympathetic nervous system to our parasympathetic nervous system. So when our body is in sympathetic, it is in fight or flight response, and it's in a stress response. So its main focus is on survival. And then when we settle into parasympathetic nervous system, our body knows and acknowledges it's in rest and digest state. So it can go ahead and facilitate all of the healing that needs to take place. So give yourself full permission to just rest and be supported and nourished. You don't need to think about what you're doing. Just enjoy the space and the practice. So we are going to start in a pose called Breathe Easy. So I have a block and a bolster here. If you don't have a block and a bolster, you might like to just use a couple of cushions or maybe a couple of bed pillows that you can recline down onto. Or of course, you're welcome to not use any props at all and just recline down onto your back or in your bed. You can do this whole practice from a bed if you like, or anywhere that is comfortable for you. So grabbing your props now and just finding some sort of reclined posture that feels supportive for you. And when you find your posture, you can either keep your feet on the ground or you might like to bring the legs long. You want to avoid any type of intentional stretch or sensation. So rather than stretching through the body, we want to just soften and allow the body to completely relax. So using any extra supports there that you need. And once you've found your space, softening down the eyes if that feels okay for you to do so today. Taking a moment or two to let your body land into the space, to let your body start to soften and melt, to unclench through any spaces that might be clenched, even when we're not aware that there is clenching going on in the body. Sometimes it's not until we stop and relax that we actually register that our body or specific spaces are clenched and tightened. So doing a scan through just the general body as a whole to begin with, noticing if any spaces are clenched or holding on. And just letting go as you scan from spot to spot. If you need any extra help or a little bit of extra loving into this space to unclench, you can take a breath in, directing that inhale to this space. And then allowing the exhale to facilitate the unclenching, to allow the release. Doing that for as many times as you need here. And then once you feel like the general body as a whole has softened a little more, has landed into the space, go ahead and guide your awareness up to your eyes and visualize a band running across the face from one side of the forehead, across the front of the face, behind the eyes, over to the other side. And just noticing how this space feels. Noticing if there feels like there's some tightness or some tension. And then go ahead and take a nice big breath in directed to this space. Allow an opening and an expansion with your inhale. And as you exhale, let this entire space soften just 1% more. Let the muscles ungrip just a little more. And then softly guide your awareness down to your jaw. And again, visualize a band running from one side of your face, across the jaw, across the front to the other side of your face. Visualizing this band of fascia and of muscles. I'm just creating awareness of how this space feels. Again, noticing any tension or tightness that might be present. And then, like we did before, taking a nice big breath into this space. Allow the jaw to open and expand. And as you breathe out, let the entire jaw and this band across the jaw soften and relax. Noticing how that feels. And then go ahead and physically open the mouth just a little bit. It doesn't have to be super wide. We're just going to gently slide the jaw side to side. So the top jaw will slide to the right, the bottom jaw or the bottom teeth will slide to the left. And then you'll bring the teeth, the jaw back to center and then softly slide to the other side. So top teeth or jaw will move to the left and bottom will go to the right. We're just going to move through a few rounds just like that, sliding jaw and teeth side to side, allowing a little bit of mindful movement in this space. allow this movement to be soft and gentle. You don't have to jar the jaw side to side. So it can be soft, it can flow. And just letting your breath be intuitive here. And you might continue moving the jaw side to side. Or you might move to one side, hold there for a few moments. And then move the jaw to the other side and hold there. And we'll take a few more breaths here, whether you're pausing or whether you're flowing between sides. And then wherever you are, softening, bringing the jaw back to center, letting the lips close once again. Taking a breath or two here. And then opening the mouth once again. This time, instead of going side to side, I'm going to move the jaw front and back, almost like you had a chest of drawers and you were lifting or sliding the drawer out and back in. So just go ahead and have a play there. See how that feels for you. Again, rather than jarring movement, softly sliding the bottom jaw or the bottom teeth in and out. Noticing whether there feels more restriction or more freedom in this movement compared to the side to side movement. Not forcing the body beyond the edges, just allowing that mindful movement. Taking another slide in and out here. And then bringing the jaw back to center, letting the lips close once again. Noticing how this space feels now. And now softly moving that awareness down into the throat and the neck space. Noticing how this space feels now. And taking a deep breath into this space, into the front of the throat space, into the back of the neck space. And then taking a big breath out, letting this entire space soften a little more. And you might like to stay just as you are, or I invite you to move into a little self-massage. So we'll start at the throat and the neck space and then work our way up into the jaw and the eye band. So if it feels okay for you, just bringing the fingertips onto the front of the throat space, just lightly touching with the fingertips, maybe massaging some small circles. If that doesn't feel okay for you today, you can just bring the hands or the fingers straight to the back of the neck and just give yourself a gentle massage here. And maybe starting at the base of the skull, moving down the neck. With soft, loving circles. Massaging one way and then massaging the other. Trying a different spot, massaging there. And trying a different spot again, massaging there. Taking another big full breath in. Big full breath out. And then softly release the hands from the neck or throat. And bring the hands onto the jawline. We'll start just underneath the corners of the mouth. So one hand on the left, one hand on the right. And again, just drawing gentle circles with the fingertips. Starting in any direction. And then maybe circling in the other direction. And they can be small circles or big circles. Once you've taken a few circles here, moving the fingertips slightly higher up the jaw, massaging a few circles here. And then circling the other way. And then moving up a little higher, massaging a few circles here. Massaging and circling the other way. Moving up one more time, drawing some circles there up towards near the ears. And then changing directions. Taking one more big breath into the jaw. And a big breath out here. And then releasing the fingers. Bring the fingers up to either side of each eye to near the temples and just drawing some soft circles here. And changing direction, drawing circles in the opposite direction. And then moving slightly higher up from the side of the eyes onto either side of the forehead, the outer forehead, and just drawing circles here. Circling both directions. And then moving the fingertips slightly more towards the center, drawing the circles here. You can draw a little bit bigger circles here. It's a little more surface area. And then changing the direction of the circles. then moving the fingers towards the center, so the fingers are side by side on the forehead now, drawing circles here. And changing those circles to the other direction. And then releasing one hand away from the face, it can come to rest beside you. And just bringing the fingertips onto the third eye, so the center of the eyebrows and just slightly above, drawing a circle or two here, and then a circle or two in the other direction. And then coming back to center, to your third eye, applying just a soft pressure here. Just a soft pressure with the fingertips as you take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then one more breath, just like that. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then go ahead and release this arm back by your side. We'll take just a few moments here in this space, noticing how the eye band, the jaw band, and the throat and neck space feel. Perhaps there's sensation, perhaps there's just relaxation. Take another 5 cycles of breath here. Taking a final breath here. And then we have been here a while, so perhaps you might like to take a little wriggle through the fingers and the toes. And then just letting your body know we're about to move out of this shape. And depending on how you are set up here, you might like to roll over to one side first. Or you might like to bring feet back to the earth, a hand underneath the head, to gently lift yourself up to an upright position. Just taking your time, there's no rush. And the next shape we will move into will be called Crocodile pose. And so again, I'm going to use my bolster here. I'm going to remove the block from underneath the bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, again, a couple of bed pillows, 1 or 2 depending on their height, or a couple of cushions lined up if that's what you have. So I'm going to use my block in front and then the bolster behind. So I'm going to be lying face down, If you are pregnant or it is quite claustrophobic for you to lay face down, if that feels really like there's not enough space for you, just come into a wide child's pose and with the forehead touching either a prop or the earth. So that is a nice substitute for you there. Otherwise, if you are coming into crocodile pose, support lengthways underneath you and then a block or another cushion in front of you. I'm actually going to place my blanket on top of the block because it's just going to be too hard for my face to land onto that block there. So I'm going to place my block there. So you can have either your block on the lowest setting or on the medium, depending on when you come into this shape, how that feels for you. So you're going to come to tabletop over your bolster or support, knees hip width distance apart a little bit wider, and then just let yourself come to land onto your support. And then forehead will come down either onto another cushion or onto your block. I'm actually going to put this block on the medium setting to meet my forehead where it is. And then hands can either just cactus beside you. You can place your arms by the sides depending on how that feels for you. So I'm going to bring my forehead down onto the block. That should feel quite spacious for your neck. So it shouldn't feel claustrophobic. And just going to allow that gentle pressure into the forehead, the third eye, feeling that lengthening through the back of the neck, softening through the jaw, the throat space. Just taking a few moments here, and then if you need to, finding the alternative or making any adjustments. So this should feel quite restful. Again, if this is painful for your hips or your belly or feels a little bit claustrophobic, just come into that wide child's pose with your forehead or your third eye connected to something, whether that's a support or directly onto the earth. If you notice any tightening or tension through the jaw here, just open the mouth nice and wide and open. And let the jaw soften back down. You might like to keep the lips slightly parted. And there's nothing you need to do here. Let the body just hang. Let the body become heavy. Body sinks into your supports, into the earth. So much so that it feels as if the body and your supports and the earth become one. And it's less clear where one starts and the other begins. All melt together. Allowing the band across the forehead and the eyes soften. The band across the jaw soften. And the band across the throat and the neck soften. If you need to remove the support underneath the body, underneath the torso, if that's getting in the way of softening and relaxing, just removing that and focus on that gentle pressure into the third eye and the lengthening and spaciousness around the jaw and the neck and the throat. And if you're aware of any little pockets of tension, whether that is a physical tension or whether that is an emotional or energetic tension, anchor into the breath like we did at the beginning, using the inhale, directing that into a particular space. And then using the exhale, directing that out of the body, releasing that tension. I'm just going to take about 1 more minute here. About 10 more breaths if you're anchoring into the breath. Allow yourself one final deep breath in here. And one final deep breath out. And then just letting your body know we're about to move out and transition out. And then slowly pressing the hands and the legs into the earth. You might like to bring hands back underneath the shoulders to just press yourself gently up to all fours. If you've used any props underneath the body, you're welcome just to move those out to the side. And then up to you, you might like to roll down onto the belly, or you might like to come back to a child's pose. We're just going to take a few breaths here before the next shape. Take another 3 breaths here. And then when you've taken your 3 breaths, we'll all meet down onto your belly. We come into a shape called Gecko pose. So we're going to stack the hands on top of each other to make a little pillow for the forehead to rest. Again, creating that gentle pressure for the third eye, the forehead. If this feels too restrictive, of course, you're welcome to turn the head and just rest your jaw onto your hands. And that might even feel nicer for you if you feel like you have a lot more tension in your jaw than around the eyes and the forehead. That might even be your choice. That might be your first choice to turn onto the right cheek. And we're just going to softly bend left knee. Bring the knee out to roughly 90 degrees and let the leg and the inside of the ankle land onto the earth. And then forehead back onto the hands, or jaw back onto the hands here. And once again, letting all of the weight of the body sink into the floor. Let the weight of the body become heavy once again. There's nothing that you need to do here other than just be, and allow a safe, restful space for your body to nourish, release, and heal. Just switching off, if you will, so that the innate wisdom of our bodies can switch on. Just taking about another 10 cycles of breath here. Taking your final breath here. If your head isn't already centered, bringing the head back to center and softly drawing that left leg back to center. If you need to come up onto the forearms to safely do so, you're welcome to do that. And then just taking a few breaths in the center before we move to the other side. And whenever you feel ready, softly bending the right knee out this time. And then either keeping the forehead centered, or if you want to roll over onto the left cheek to rest there, you're more than welcome to do that. And letting the body become heavy. One more time. Let everything melt back into the earth. One more time. Noticing if your state or your relaxation has shifted, moving from one side to the other. And if it has, that's okay. Just anchoring back into the breath or intentionally resting the body or muscle by muscle to soften back into that surrendered state. Taking another 10 or so breaths here. Enjoying this final minute of this side. When you feel ready to transition out of this side, softly bringing that right leg back into center and the head back to center if it isn't already. And you may choose to stay here, or you may choose to roll over onto your back or your side, finding somewhere that feels nourishing and supportive for you to integrate our practice and complete our practice. Finding comfort one more time. Taking any wriggles or adjustments and settling back down. You are welcome to just surrender into this space as you are and let everything go and sink into the void. or you are welcome to join me in this visualization practice just for the next few moments. So in your mind's eye, I invite you to imagine you have a paintbrush and a bucket. And this bucket is full of nourishing, whole, pure butter. And you take your paintbrush and you dip it in this butter. And then you take the paintbrush and paint the whole band from one side of the eye across the face. You paint this butter across this eye band all the way over to the other side. And then you release the paintbrush from your face. You take a deep breath in. And as you take a deep breath out, all of this butter melts across this eye band. And the warmth seeps into the muscles, into the deeper fascia. And all of the muscles and the fascia melt exactly like the butter does. And you can picture that in your mind's eye, visualizing that melting, that softening. And then picturing picking up your paintbrush once again, dipping the paintbrush into the butter. And this time we're going to paint the paintbrush from one side of the jaw all the way across the front of the face to the other side. Releasing paintbrush, taking a deep breath in. And a deep breath out, and as you breathe out, all of this butter melts. And the warmth seeps into the skin and the muscles and the fascia. And all of the skin and the muscles and the fascia melt as well. It all melts and softens. And then one more time we pick up this paintbrush, dip the paintbrush in the butter. And this time we brush from one side of the neck all the way across the front and around all the way back to the starting point. Painting this butter across this band around the entire throat and neck. Releasing the brush, taking a breath in. And as you take a deep breath out, all of this butter melts. And the warmth of this butter seeps into the skin, into your muscles, into your fascia. And all of the skin, the muscles, and the fascia, and the throat, and the neck space all melt and soften, just like the jaw and the eye. And laying here, all of these three spaces melt and soften and surrender. Enjoying this state of softness, of surrender for as long as you like. Resting here for as long as you feel called to do so. And only moving back into your day whenever you feel ready to do so. Making sure that you take the time and the space to slowly integrate out of practice and into your world. There is no rush. Rest for as long as you like.